Hi, welcome to Anaprime Recap. You're forced to wear a necklace that injects a lethal poison into your body, the effect of which can only be reversed by consuming a sweet that is extremely difficult to obtain. We're in the anime, Dead Man Wonderland, first season, episodes 1, 2 and 3. Over coffee, Gonta Igarashi is researching a prison called Dead Man Wonderland, which the school is planning to tour, and then he is surprised by Mimi. The girl expresses her preference for visiting Tokyo, while her friend hasn't been back to the city for 10 years and doesn't remember the place either. Yamakatsu then joins the discussion. Before the class begins, Gonta hears an eerie song coming from somewhere, and a bizarre kind of night appears outside the room. Everyone quickly notices the man's sudden appearance, leaving the boy curious as to how he got to the third floor. Suddenly, the monster starts moving rings with purplish structures to strike the building, destroying everything in front of it. When he wakes up, the boy sees a chaotic scene around him. To his surprise, Mimi seems unharmed, but when he looks more closely, he realizes that the monster is holding her friend's hair, and her body is no longer there. At this, the young man is very frightened, but the creature doesn't care and strikes him a blow, causing him to faint. When he wakes up in hospital, he is surprised by the police, who accuse him of being responsible for the murder of 29 students in the terrible attack in which he was the only survivor. Before Gonta is taken away by the officers, he is introduced to a prosecutor called Tamaki. The young man quickly claims that all the destruction was caused by the man in red, and that he was also hit in the chest. However, when he looks at his own body, the boy realizes that the wound site is intact. On the day of the trial, the boy is found guilty of all the lives lost on that fateful day. As he leaves the courtroom, the boy goes crazy because of his sentence and struggles against the guards. Suddenly, several people start attacking him, even his best friend's father. However, his cell phone starts playing a recording in which he talks about the crime with the prosecutor, claiming that he hid the weapon used and that it was fun to do it with his own colleagues, especially Mimi. Watching the video, Gonta is confused and doesn't understand what is going on. At that moment, his friend's father shows a lot of anger, since he considered him a son. Then Tamaki appears and admits to the boy that after the recording was leaked to the press, he will no longer be able to appeal his fate. In the prison, a young woman called Shiro sings while observing her surroundings intently. Suddenly, she notices Gonta approaching in the police car, as if she was already waiting for him. 10 years ago, the city was destroyed by a gravitational anomaly known as the Red Hole. Since then, the site has helped the city's economic recovery. Inside the prison, the boy and other delinquents are greeted by Makina, the guard captain. The woman then explains that prison is a private establishment, so it has its own rules and criminals also serve as spectacles, being forced to work in circuses and take part in games. In addition, they receive collars equipped with devices that generate electrical discharges, have GPS and other safety measures. While the captain is explaining the rules, Gonta is hit by a cart driven by Yo Takami, one of the local veterans. The boy apologizes, but Makina demands that he return the object he stole. Suddenly, the woman strikes the boy with her sword, causing him to fall to the ground. Shortly afterwards, other employees show up to help, but the captain ignores her subordinates and stomps on the young man's face, claiming that there is no escape from the Dead Man Wonderland. In a private room, Makina confesses to Tamaki that, even though he is the only rookie sentenced to execution, the boy will lose his life before the day arrives. However, the prosecutor doesn't intend to leave Gonta alone so easily. As the rookie works hard in prison, he remembers his perished friends and also the man who did this to them, wishing to end his own life. Just then, the boy is surprised by Shiro, who challenges him, saying that if he is so determined to be executed, she will do it herself. Without hesitation, she advances towards him. Despite this, the girl touches his heart and claims that, deep down, he is asking to survive. Gonta asks her how she has this information, and she replies that they are companions, which surprises him deeply. However, the newcomer believes that if they were really friends, she wouldn't have attacked him. Suddenly, the two are interrupted when an object thrown by one of the prisoners hits the boy in the face. Soon afterwards, the bully stands up for himself, telling Gonta that he's nobody inside the prison. He gets closer and closer, but Shiro pushes him, causing him to fall on his butt. The man then gets up to fight back, but the girl manages to dodge him and also kicks him. However, one of the prisoners hits her with a shovel, enraging the newcomer who steps forward to defend her. The bullies quickly knock the boy to the ground, hitting him with several kicks. Meanwhile, Tamaki looks at Gonta's file, and is aware that the young man is not guilty, but merely witnessed the branch of sin, and was lucky enough to survive. What's more, he believes that the boy has only two options: he can suffer and then lose his life, or he can live but become the prosecutor's new plaything. During the fight in the courtyard, Gonta feels a sudden pain in his chest, and an explosion occurs in the building above them, causing parts of the huge structure to fall towards where they are. At that moment, the prisoners flee and the newcomer remains by his new friend's side. Suddenly, a scarlet glow appears on the boy's chest, as well as red lines and circles with blue spheres coming from his body, so he uses this unknown power to protect Shiro. At the same time, the guard is called in to restrain a prisoner who is about to use his weapon on a hostage in order to get candy. However, Makina orders the officers to wait, as the man has little time to live. Then his necklace is suddenly activated, squeezing his neck to elimination. Afterwards, Gonta wakes up amidst the destruction and realizes that his companion is still alive. In the Deadman Wonderland, prisoners risk losing their lives if they fail to obtain sweets within 3 days, and the only way to get them is by winning championships known as dog race show. Watching a video recording, the captain realizes that in the incident in which Gonta saved the girl, he was responsible for deflecting the debris. She wonders what is so special about the boy. In his cell, the boy reflects on the events of that day, trying to understand what really happened. Despite his confusion, he decides to go to the infirmary to treat his injuries. While tending to the newcomer's wounds, the nurse asks him if he's eaten his first candy, which should be in his bag, but the young man claims he didn't find anything in his backpack. Suddenly, Yo appears on one of the beds saying that Gonta's candy may have fallen off when they bumped into each other. After that, the veteran warns the boy to follow all the rules if he wants to survive. Suddenly, Shiro emerges from the pipes in the ceiling, frightening the boys. At that moment, she invites them both to the show put on by the prisoners, called the dog race. In this competition, the winner gets 100,000 casts, a form of money that can be used in prison and is the only way to get food. The veteran then asks if the girl is new to the place, since he has never met her before, but is interrupted by Gonta, who realizes that he is very hungry, but his new friend reveals that he can get food by taking part in the championship. On his way to the event, Gonta is approached by the captain, who asks him if he has read the rule book and suggests he does so quickly. Meanwhile, Yo makes a phone call to Principal Tamaki to let him know that the newcomer will be taking part in the competition. In the stadium's locker room, the new friends gather and observe the other competitors, who seem wary of the presence of Kozuji, a former MMA and Taekwondo fighter. The man was known as the Ultimate Warrior, but lost everything after attacking a woman in cold blood. Gonta quickly draws the attention of the man, who advances against him. At that moment, the veteran moves out of the way of the man, causing his friend to be punched. However, Kozuji is still angry and attacks Yo too, crushing his arm with his foot. He then demands that everyone else drop out of the race so that he can win. As he stands paralyzed by the man's cruelty, Gonta is immobilized by the thugs. However, the fighter's attention turns to the boy again, and this time he is forced to smile. Even after obeying, the boy is hit in the stomach. Suddenly, Shiro appears in the locker room, happy to have gotten candy. However, she ends up stepping on the bully's foot, which makes him even angrier. Just as Kozuji is about to go crazy again, the captain appears and strikes him in the chest, but the cut only rips his shirt, causing no apparent injury, which makes the guy walk away threatening Shiro. Soon after, Gonta reads the rules of the place and discovers that he has to win the competition, otherwise it will be his last day of life. Meanwhile, the director reveals to an employee that he will set dangerous traps during the game, even though the audience is full of students. At the stadium, the competition begins with the first stage, known as the Heads of Hall, in which the contestants must cross a corridor full of blades. There, Gonta struggles to escape the danger, ducking just in time for the blade to pass through him, but receives a shallow cut on his back. During the game, the newcomer witnesses a competitor being crushed by the sharp objects. In the next stage, dozens of prisoners are shot in a firefight, while the audience enjoys the spectacle, believing that everything is done with special effects. In the next phase, entitled Bungee Lottery, each candidate is challenged to choose the correct rope to hold onto after jumping off a cliff. One wrong choice and the contestant crashes to the ground. Before the boy can decide, he is surprised by bizarre birds who encourage him to jump. Then Shiro appears and convinces him to jump with her. During the jump, the girl lands deftly on the ground, while her friend hangs by the rope. Now, they must go to the arrow alley, and avoid the dozens of arrows heading their way, without falling off the platform, where there is an electric field that shocks the prisoners to their doom. The two friends easily dodge the arrows, but Gonta narrowly misses slipping. At the same time, Kozuji uses two of his henchmen as a shield to cross the dangerous corridor. The companions then enter the next stage, where they have to jump over giant balls to cross a poisonous lake. They manage to complete the challenge, albeit in a clumsy manner. When he reaches the other side, the boy feels like giving up, but realizes that his only choice is to continue following the rules, even if he doesn't want to. In the final stage of the game, they come across the audience, and the newcomer remembers his old friends. During his reverie, he is surprised by Kozuji, who stares at him coldly. In the last phase, the winner must keep possession of the Deadman Ball until the end of the game. While the three finalists race to the object, the bully knocks Gonta to the ground, who rolls towards the ball and manages to catch it. However, some of the panels around the boy collapse, causing holes in the floor. Just then, the instructor reveals that there will only be one platform left at the end of the championship. Faced with this, the boy runs and dodges the precipice, while his enemy chases him. Kozuji then corners the rookie and starts threatening him. At this point, the boy gets angry and throws the ball at the big man, who is thrown away with the impact. Quickly, the young man thrusts himself at the man, and the ball falls into his friend's hands. Soon after, the man advances towards Gonta, and Shiro's platform suddenly disappears, causing her to fall towards the sharp stakes. At the same time, the panels below Kozuji disappear, so he slides towards another panel, but he doesn't have enough momentum and ends up falling over the cliff. After that, the young man looks for his companion, who is holding on to the platform by her legs. Suddenly, the base of the floor disappears, leaving them in a dangerous situation. The girl bravely throws the ball to Gonta, but he decides to give up the prize in favor of saving his friend. At that moment, the boy is happy to have saved Shiro, even if he will be executed tomorrow, since it's the third day he's been without the antidote. In a bizarre room, several men call Tamaki's attention to the number of bodies in the last show. The prosecutor then orders them to continue keeping the wretched egg, better known as the Man in Red, in the Deadman Wonderland. In the cafeteria, the prisoners comment on the extreme difficulty of the test, and Yo ponders whether the level of challenge has been increased by the presence of the newcomer. In his cell, Gonta writes one last letter to the only person he has left, Mimi's father. Suddenly, he is surprised by Yo, who enters the room and hands his friend a candy, feeling guilty for the disappearance of the young man's first dose. At that moment, the boy feels very grateful, but the veteran, in his thoughts, remembers that he is only helping him on Tamaki's orders. Afterwards, Gonta swallows the sweet, but it tastes terrible. In a children's room, the prosecutor receives the news that the Mother Goose system has failed, freeing the Man in Red. Quickly, Tamaki heads to the scene and demands that his subordinates capture the fugitive before he can get a taste of fresh air. While enjoying an ice cream next to his new friend, Yo wonders silently how the newcomer was able to eliminate his entire class. Suddenly, Gonta feels an intense pain in his chest and looks up to see his enemy in the clock tower. At the same moment, the man uses his powers to form a tornado that hits all the prisoners in the courtyard. Suddenly, a magic similar to the monsters, known as the Branch of Sin, begins to appear in the newcomer's body. After building up all his anger, the boy directs his power at the enemy, who is hit hard. However, the monster recovers easily and leaves the scene, while Gonta feels very weak. Soon afterwards, the officers manage to re-establish the security system, but Yo remains distressed in the courtyard, smelling the strong odor of blood in the air. On the other hand, for the prosecutor this strong smell is a good thing, as it indicates the emergence of a new player. Afterwards, Gonta wakes up in the infirmary and wonders why the man has the same powers as him. He then hears the other prisoners commenting that some time ago the man had escaped from G Block. In her office, Makina receives a report saying that the incident was the work of a radical human rights group, but she believes that Gonta is involved and that he is hiding a powerful weapon inside the prison. The captain quickly issues a red alert for the immediate capture of the suspect and unleashes one of her superweapons to assist in the chase. Meanwhile, the promoter tells Yo that he will be responsible if anything happens to the rookie, who is a guest at the real Deadman Wonderland. Afterwards, the man hands out several cast points to encourage the veteran to complete his service. At the same time, Gonta and Shiro run and prison security asks the boy to surrender. However, the corridor doors close, leaving the two trapped. Suddenly, Yo appears and tells the boy that he'd better not ignore the rules. The newcomer then admits that he needs to get to the Man in Red, who is being held in G Block. His friend then shows him on the map that there is no such wing in the prison. Suddenly, the girl confesses that she knows a secret passage to the place, but she doesn't want to show the boy the way because she's upset with him. At the same moment, the three of them are surprised by a giant robot, which shoots a laser at the newcomer's forehead. The creature charges at them, forcing Shiro to reveal the exit. Afterwards, the monster fires a bolt of lightning that burns the entrance to the pipes, but the group still manages to get inside in time. Suddenly, the machine appears inside the passage, causing the young people to flee. Shiro quickly finds another way out, but the rookie ends up lagging behind with the monster on his tail, but Yo uses his tricks to steal one of the robot's wires, causing it to shut down. At the end of the corridor, they finally find the entrance to G Block. However, the evil machine returns and fires several missiles at them. At the same time, the captain receives news that she no longer has control over the device, since it doesn't respond to any command signals, indicating that there is some part of the prison that Machina doesn't know about. In the midst of the destruction, Gonta regrets having involved her new friends in the mess. However, the girl acts quickly and knocks out the robot with a kick. Shiro then reveals that she was hurt because the newcomer had said that all her companions had perished on that fateful day, and that she is also his friend. While the girl is shouting at Gonta, the robot reappears and examines her using its recognition system, realizing that she doesn't have an identification number. Quickly, the monster directs a laser at the girl's forehead. At that moment, Gonta struggles to use his powers, but fails miserably. Suddenly, a red ribbon appears and easily cuts the monster in half. Soon after, everyone realizes that the blow came from inside G Block, revealing an unknown man. So, what did you think of this anime? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more anime recaps. See you next time.